good to go.
Okay, thank you. I would like to welcome everyone to the Babylon Village Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for November 18th, 2020. Before we get underway, I'd just like to spend a moment to explain the mechanics of the meeting. There were 6 applications on the docket, 5 applications on the docket this evening. But one of those applications, the 4th one, Peter Seda and Kathleen Seda, 17 Lewis Circle, have pulled their application, and that will not be heard this evening. So there are 4 left on this evening's docket. We will read each one in the order in which they appeared in the public notice. Then we will have the applicant in to explain the variances, take any questions from us. Members of the public who would like to make a comment on a particular application may do so by sending their comments to the clerk's office, Christina, and we will take them for 7 days after tonight's meeting. Take them into account for 7 days. After that, we'll make a decision. Usually our decisions don't take that longer period of time unless they get more complex and we ask for more additional information or additional research that we do. We have 60 days from the time an application is complete to make a decision. As I said, it usually does not take that period of time, but there are exceptions when they are more complex. With that, I will take application number 1.
Okay. Application of Mark J. Harris, DMD, 58 Thompson Avenue, Babylon, New York, for permission to maintain a professional office on the ground floor and a second floor apartment on the premises located at 392 Deer Park Avenue, Babylon, New York. Property located in Residence O District, Suffolk County Real Property Tax Map District 0102, Section 6, Block 3, Lot 34. Application made in accordance with Section 365-17 and 365-35.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I'm sorry, Mark, my husband's not here as yet. He's still at his dental office, so.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
I'm here.
Okay, that's good enough. So Keely, this is to extend maintain the office and the apartment upstairs, which you've had for several years. We're trying to figure out how long. It's probably over 20, probably at least.
Over 30.
Yeah, probably upwards, right? And so we're going to ask, are there any changes that you've made to the building other than maintaining it? No additions to the building or the property? It's pretty much the way it is.
Yes.
Okay. And with that, with the approval, every time we give it to you, we say there, you understand, we continue to do this periodically every few years because you're in a special residence O zone. So we make sure everybody's maintaining their properties. You understand that?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And also there are covenants and restrictions that are in our letters all the time that go back to, I think, our original approval, and that you would abide by those as well.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any plans to do anything on the property other than maintain it?
No, nothing in the near future I can think of.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, I just had one. I noticed in our agenda there was an issue with the building department involving a dumpster that was part of the CNRs. Was that situation corrected?
Yes.
Okay.
It was not necessary to have a dumpster.
Okay. Because I can remember all the other times we went to, I don't ever remember seeing it.
No, we never had one. We don't need one. I believe the tenant didn't understand why the garbage wasn't being picked up. So they put a complaint in, from what I understood.
So that was straightened out.
It was straightened out, yes.
Okay, good. All right, anybody else?
Just one question. What the detached garage, what is that primarily used for?
Really kind of just storage. A car doesn't even go in it. So it's really just
Storage for
Space.
maintaining the property, that type of thing. You're using it yourself, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anything else? All right. Thank you, Keely. You'll hear from us shortly.
Thank you. And for understanding Mark couldn't be here.
Not a problem. Tell him we say hello and have a good evening.
Okay. Have a good night and stay well.
Thank you. Okay, application number 2, application of Thomas and Farida Alcock, 10 Reed Avenue, Babel, New York, for permission to construct a private in-ground swimming pool on the premises located at 10 Reed Avenue, Babel, New York, requiring a variance to increase the lot coverage from 25% permitted to 27% proposed. Property located in Residence A9 District, Suffolk County Real Property Tax Map District 0102, Section 16, Block 2, Lot 10. Application made in accordance with Sections 365.14 and 365.35.
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Good. How are you, Mr. Alcock?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. I see your wife is on, but she's on mute, but she's listening in.
Yes, she's just going to listen in. Unfortunately, I'm working today, so we couldn't be together.
Gotcha. Okay. So if you can explain what you're looking to do.
We really just want to install a private in-ground pool for our own personal use. I believe because of the dimensions and because of the existing driveway, we're a little over the permitted 25% lot coverage. By adding the pool, I believe it brought us to, it was calculated to have brought us to 27% lot coverage. So we're requesting permission to install the pool as is, if you provide us with the additional 2% lot coverage allowance.
Okay. And I see, looking at your site plan, that you fit it in, so you don't need any other variances, right? Side yard or anything else.
No, I believe that was it. It was just the dimensions of the pool.
Right, right. Now, this pool is going to be surrounded by a self-locking gated fence?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, because that's going to be something you're going to have to show the building department when you apply for a permit.
No, along with we'll redo the fencing when we're doing the pool as well.
Okay, okay. Is there anything else associated with this? There's no pool house or anything like that that's going with this, correct? It's just the pool equipment.
That's correct. It's just the pool and the equipment.
Okay. And when are you looking to do this?
Hopefully we would start early next year, if allowed.
Okay. Because the reason I ask is if we give you approval, you have to start within a certain period of time. So it'd be something you'd have to keep in touch with the building inspector on. Maybe you get some extensions, but maybe for a pool, you're not going to start till the ground thaws anyhow. So
Yeah, I believe that they were talking sometime in March.
okay. Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions. Gentlemen, anybody have a question?
None here.
I have nothing else.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Alcock, that's all we need. I appreciate it. And
Thank you for your time.
you'll hear from us very shortly. Stay well.
Okay. You too, and I take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Application number 3, application of Keith Newell, 450 Fire Island Avenue, Babel, New York, for permission to reduce the parking requirement from 17 spaces required to 10 spaces proposed, and to reduce the parking lot drainage from 43 linear feet required to 30 linear feet proposed. Property located in Marine Commercial District, Suffolk County Real Property Tax Map District 0102, Section 19, Block 3, Lots 32, 33, and 34. Application made in accordance with Sections 365.19 and 365.35.
Mr. Newell? You may be on mute.
Oh. Okay, I think I got it.
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, yes. We're just looking to keep the building as is and it's as it's been. Just the requirements of the code, the calculations is 17 spots. And as it exists, there's only 10 available.
Right, but when you say as is, what are you using the building for?
Well, we plan on using the building for boat and boat trailer repair and maintenance, stuff like that.
Okay, and based on that, you went to the planning board?
Correct.
And I know you got a letter from them back in October, I guess. Yes, in October. And so they indicated that you needed 17 spaces and you needed another 13 feet for drainage, correct? Same thing. So
Correct.
one of the things we noticed as we looked at your site plan is we're trying to figure out, because it's pretty tight back there, given the parking spaces you need, et cetera. Where exactly were you doing the maintenance?
Well, there's room back there to the plan is not to keep like a bunch of boats there. The plan is to work on some boats, but not really store so many. The only boats that will be stored there are the boats that I own in particular, but the rest would come and go.
How
Okay.
many boats do you own, Mr. Newell?
I'm sorry.
I said, how many boats do you own?
We have I think we have four, maybe five. Not sure.
Okay, so you have 4 or 5, and then you're gonna work on others in this property?
Correct. Yeah, and there might be some that I'll purchase and then possibly sell, but at the moment we have 4, and then and then just another avenue for people in the village to have their boats worked on.
Right. How big are these boats that you have?
Probably the biggest one is 28 feet. We have a 28 foot, a 26 foot, a 21, and a 19.
Okay.
I have another 28, but I plan on we're gonna be getting rid of that one shortly.
Okay. But I'm still looking at the site plan. I'm trying to figure out where they're going to go.
For the most part, along the back edge, I guess.
Well, the back of the property is all parking spots. There's 5 parking spots along the back.
All right. I mean, we could probably modify the plan to move the spots forward, I guess. I mean, I guess, this exercise was to establish the building as it exists now. We haven't changed anything to the building. It's exactly how it's been for about 30 years.
Not for boat storage or maintenance.
Well, the calculations of the parking is squarely on how the parking is to be calculated in the Marine Commercial District. So whether it was bait and tackle or boat storage or boat repair or anything that is allowed for that space, the parking calculations are the same.
That's something I got to go back and look at, but
that might be true, but you're proposing to take up parking spaces with boat storage. So even though the code may say that you need 17 for this site, you're really only effectively providing about 4 spaces because the rest of the spaces are going to be taken up with boats. So where are the
well, I mean, it doesn't necessarily, just because we have a parking space doesn't mean that the parking space you could park a car, you can park a trailer. I mean, the code doesn't say you have to physically park a car there. You have to provide the space.
No, actually, you're mistaken. The code does require you to park cars there. Boat storage would be taking up parking spaces, and that's not permitted. So the question is, how many employees do you have?
We have like 3.
Okay, and how many people live on the second floor of the building? Because you're talking about apartments up there, correct?
Just one. It's actually me. I live there.
All right, and there's only 1 unit up there?
Yes.
So that's 4 parking spaces effectively, and you really only have 5. Where does somebody park if they're coming to pick up a boat or, talk to you about some estimate you gave them, or where do your customers park?
Well, we have provisions for the 5 spaces. I mean, if we were to have a boat there, generally speaking, the only time the boats are really going to be there is in the wintertime. That's the only time they're going to be there. They're, 2 of them will be in the water. Probably 3 of them will be in the water, and 1 or 2 will be on land in the summertime. The rest would just be there in the wintertime. As many people store their boats in the village.
Speaking of which, were you using any of the village docks for these purposes this summer?
I do. I have 2 spots at the village dock. Yes, for my boats. Yes.
Just for your boats, not for
Correct.
anybody who has worked.
No, they're my boats. I own them, and they're at the dock in the spaces that I got from the village. Yes, the 28 Sea Ray and the 21 Hydrosports that I have.
Right. Huh. And how was it that you wound up in front of us? Who told you that you needed to come to see us?
Well, it started with the building inspector. Stephen Feldman said I needed to do this. I needed to go to the planning board. I went to the planning board. The planning board were amenable to the whole idea. It's just that the building as it exists doesn't have enough parking spaces, just based on the calculations of how you are supposed to figure out how many parking spaces. So I mean, the fact that the space, it only has 10 parking spaces. I mean, that should have been discussed probably 30 years ago when the building was built.
Well, but you said that you had to go to the planning board. What started Feldman knowing that you needed anything?
He came to my place one day. He showed up one day and said, okay, I need to go to the planning board.
Did you own the building when you had the fires in the back?
Yes.
Okay.
I was on the boat when the fire happened.
Oh, geez. Okay. So that's what started this, because there was a question as to whether or not you could actually store boats on that property legally without going to seek getting approval.
No. This is what happened with Stephen Feldman happened probably in April of last year. And that's when it started.
I understand, but they've been looking at the property for a while, trying to figure out you needed something before you could actually start storing boats there, because those were stored there for someone else, correct? Not just your boats.
No, those are my boats. Every boat that was there was my boat. I lost like 4 or 5 boats in that. Yeah.
So are you selling boats? What do you do with 4 or 5 boats?
Well, I use 3 of them. One of them is a boat that I've had for many years that I'm getting rid of. And then I'm looking to, in the future, maybe have like a boat dealership, like a used boat dealership, but I'm not doing that at the moment. Right now, I'm looking to just do maintenance and repair of the boats and boat trailers. I mean, that's what the property is zoned for. So, I mean, I'm surprised that coming into this, that I've had so much resistance in a situation that's what it's zoned for.
Well, it was for many years, it was a bait and tackle shop. That's what it was. So it was a much different kind of use than what.
No, well, I mean, what I'm saying is that the zoning for that space is for boat storage, boat repair, boat building, and anything to do with boats. I mean, that's what it says in the code, and that was our purpose in buying the building, because that's what it's allowed for. That's what we sort of expected to be able to do, and to be, to have, I'm surprised that this is an issue.
Well, zoning encompasses more than just what the use of the building is or the use of the property is. It encompasses whether or not the property is of sufficient size to accommodate the proposed use. And you have a very narrow site with limited parking that you want to do boat storage and boat repairs at. And we're just struggling with, I guess, the idea of how you're going to be able to accomplish this all on this property. We all know parking is a problem on Fire Island Avenue. We've all experienced it at one time or another. And we don't want overflow from this site to go out onto Fire Island Avenue and interfere with people being able to use that roadway. And I think that's where, zoning comes into a play. It comes into play to protect the community from an overuse of a site, even though that use may be permitted.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, we've been there for a little while. We don't really encroach onto the street. We're pretty good neighbors. I mean, you can ask our neighbors how we are and how it's been since we've been there. As I said, really the only boats that are going to be there are really my own boats. The boats that I would have for customers, they're not going to stay there to be stored. They're just going to be there to do some work like winterizing or summerizing or repair or stuff like that. And then they're going to go. Because there is not enough space for storage of boats. I can't do that there. You're right. There's not enough space, but there's certainly enough space for me to keep my own boats there. And there's space to bring stuff in and out, and there's space to have the people who would be there to park. And that shouldn't be a problem. I mean, and I don't use the street at all, but I mean, there's some other people there that use the street quite often. Boats that are in the street and stuff, those are not mine. I have nothing to do with that. I'm very rarely parked in the street.
So assuming, let's say we were to entertain this and were to approve this application, would you agree to conditions of the approval that there not be any overnight storage of boats that don't belong to you, the property owner? That all the boats that be stored on site be owned and registered by you?
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. The only boats I want to keep there are mine. I happen to be really into boats. So that's one of the reasons why I have a couple of them. One of them is a cabin cruiser for, just hanging out and enjoying time. And the other one's a fishing boat, and the other one's a little bit smaller fishing boat. So it's really more along those lines. That's why I have the boats. But I'm pretty good with them. And, there is a need. I don't know if any of you guys are boat owners, but there's a need for people to work on boats. It's very difficult to get people to do it, especially right now. Try to get your boat out of the water or winterize. It's quite a challenge because there's not enough people. There's only a couple of marinas that are there. And the marinas that are there, they serve more people outside of Babylon Village than I would. I really only want to serve the people in Babylon Village. That's all I'm looking to do, is just that small. It's just going to be a small operation, but it's really for Babylon Village. If you look at the other Great Bay Marine that's over there, he probably has no Babylon Village customers.
And what about the issue of drainage, though? That's another concern. Obviously, if you've been down there a while, you know what it gets like after just a rainstorm. What solutions can we, come up with for that?
Well, I'll tell you, in my experience, the times that we have an issue, we had an issue earlier. My catch basins were not draining. I had them cleaned out. They've performed much better. I will say, in times of high tide and a heavy rainstorm, we will get about 6 inches in certain spots in the parking lot. But as soon as the rain goes and the tide drops, it does drain. It does stay dry for most of the time. But I don't think that's a function of more drainage. I think that's a function of where we are. I think the only solution to do anything about it would be to raise the parking lot. We don't really have the money to do that at the moment, but I don't think it's a function of drainage. Because if the tide is a little bit lower, and I usually don't have a problem. It's only when the tide's up and we get a lot of rain, because the catch basins down there directly function based on where the tide is. And then when we get really like super moon tides and stuff like that, there's nothing anybody can do.
Mm-hmm. And just to go back for a second, so how many, I'm trying to gauge, so how many customers would you typically have a day?
Well, it depends. I mean, we have the bait shop that exists now. I mean, that'll be customers coming in and out. There's 2 spots that are 15 minutes only right in front, and that's perfect for customers to stop, get bait or stuff like that and go. And that's typically how that store has operated. As far as other customers, a lot of customers, I'd actually go to their boat in the village. So it may not even come to the shop, but it probably will be a function of pulling the boat out of the water. It comes to the shop to get winterized, maybe shrink wrapped, and then brought to their house, sort of thing. So in that case, it would depend on how quickly we can bring them in and out. It would be a matter of getting the boat, bringing it in, doing the work, and bringing it out. And then if we could, do another one. So maybe we could do 3 in a day, but that would be one boat at a time.
So with that being said, Mr. Newell, what you're talking about is that there's a possibility of that any of these customers, it is possible that some of those boats could be stored in the property overnight, correct?
Well, I mean, if you require me to not allow that, then in that case, the boat would have to go. The only reason it would have to stay overnight, and this is only a possibility if there was some sort of repair of which couldn't be accomplished in a 1 day period. But that would be one boat. And if it's more than that, then I'd have to take it back to their house and bring it back to their house. I mean, I don't think that would be unreasonable to allow me one customer boat overnight, on certain occasions. But that would, like I said, it would only be like winterizing only takes a couple of hours. But if somebody comes to me where we got to replace a motor, well, then it's going to take a little bit longer. But there is an area right behind the back of the shop that a boat could fit in there and get worked on and then come out of there. And believe me, I know it's tight. I wish I had more money. I'd buy pure 44, but I can't afford that.
Yeah. So basically, that area behind your shop now, all the items that are stored back there are various pieces of some heavy equipment, dumpsters, trailers. I counted 4 boats. I guess they must be yours.
Yeah.
Really,
the boat to the left, that's the one that's going to be going soon. I'm sorry?
I said, when you look at the area, the square footage, it's really very, very tight and very cluttered.
We happened because we were throwing some stuff out. So we got the like one of those boats. Part of it is I was trying to get rid of the stuff inside to make the weight less. So I had dumpsters there to throw to kind of break the boat up a little bit, like stuff inside, like the interior and stuff, because it's very expensive to dump a boat. So I was trying to make it a little bit lighter. And that's what we were using the dumpsters for, that stuff. The heavy equipment you see, I mean, that's for moving stuff around. Boat engines and stuff like that, they're heavy. And the trailers are heavy. Sometimes because it is tight, I've taken some boat trailers and I've stacked them on top of each other. So I have the equipment for doing that.
Where do you, I'm looking at the site plan again. I don't see any dumpsters on here.
Those are not permanent dumpsters. Those were only there for our purposes in the, in the immediate time period.
Right, but don't they stay on the property?
No, they're not supposed to be. They're not supposed to be there for constant. They're not supposed to be there all the time. They, like I said, I had stuff to get rid of, and that's why they were there.
So how does that work?
Well, they'll be going soon once I get the stuff out of there.
So you call somebody, they drop off a dumpster, you fill it, and they take it away?
Yeah, I have a friend who has those dumpsters, and he's going to bring them back soon.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
I do have one. September, the day after Labor Day of 2019, you had a very serious fire there on that location. It's a lot of damage and everything. I did notice that there was some damage to the building. It looks like the rear soffit is still open from where the fire damage occurs. Any plans to repair that?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that we should when we fixed a little bit of the siding, we should have fixed that. We just didn't get it done that time. But yeah, we're going to get that done shortly.
Mr. Newell, it's been over a year, and the fact that that's open and everything else like that, it just lends itself to a lot of other things. But perhaps some structural damage because the elements are getting in there. That's all.
No, there's no structural damage. That's just, it's one little opening right there. And, you know, if I could, I'll have it fixed within, you know, a week or so. We replaced the side and we fixed basically everything. We cleaned up the parking lot. I had most of the parking lot seal coated. There was when we did the little bit of work to just fix that stuff, that one little board, we didn't have that board at the time. So, yeah, we were supposed to get it done, and yeah, so we could get it done right away. I understand it should be covered up, and absolutely it should. So we'll get that done.
And lastly, just to confirm, you're the only one living on the property, correct?
Correct.
And you live upstairs?
Correct.
Okay. All right, anything else, gentlemen?
Just, the boats in the rear, the two are shrink wrapped. Are those your boats or customers' boats?
Those are my boats, yeah.
All the boats on the premises now are yours.
Correct. Yeah, there's I have a 1985 28-foot Bayliner. I have I want to say it's a 1999 19-foot Larson is there. In the front is a 2021 Hydro Sports. My Sea Ray is still in the water. That's gonna go there also. And I got I got an old wooden boat, a 1958 Penyan that we're restoring. And then I have my hydraulic boat trailer that was basically destroyed in that fire is there, going to get galvanized because we're going to be rebuilding that. That's taking up a lot of the parts for that trailer. You'd be surprised how many parts there are on a hydraulic boat trailer, but they're kind of making the yard a little cluttered at the moment because there's boat trailer parts everywhere. But we're hoping to get that trailer back together soon.
What boat is in the north driveway? At the end of the driveway, you're at the street end, sticking out.
Where are you talking about? On the driveway side, on the left side of the building? All the way in the back?
Right.
On the right side, that's the 21 Hydro Sports. That's it's a 2021 foot Hydro Sports. That was in I think slip 31 in the main dock this year. We just pulled it out of the water, a little while ago.
Yeah. Okay, you'll hear from us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Okay, last application of the meeting, listed in the legal is number 5. It's actually number 4. Application of Thomas and Deborah O'Brien, 29 Cambridge Drive, Babel, New York, for permission to construct an addition on the premise located at 29 Cambridge Drive, Babel, New York, requiring a variance to reduce the front yard setback from 30 foot required to 25.06 feet on the Cambridge Drive side proposed and 5.6 feet on the Alton Road side proposed, and to increase the lot coverage from 25% permitted to 26% proposed. Property located in Residence A9, Suffolk County Real Property Tax Map District 0102, Section 15, Block 1, Lot 49. Application made in accordance with Sections 365.14 and 365.35.
Hello,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. How are you? I think we're just waiting for Mr. O'Brien. I think he's on mute.
Okay, I think I'm here now.
Yep, we hear you.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening. So, Mr. O'Brien, could you tell us what you're asking to do?
Yes, we're looking to add a two-story addition onto our existing two-story house, exceeding the right side of the house out 14 feet, if allowed. We're going to extend our bedroom on the second floor, and the first floor will become a larger living room. We're going to relocate our kitchen from the back right corner of the house into that corner, and have create a bigger dining room also.
Okay, and then you have the challenge of the corner lot.
Yes, correct.
Incidentally, we did discuss possibly doing the addition on the back of the house so that we wouldn't encroach on the corner lot, on the corner setback. But if we did something like that, it would necessitate making the roof a flat roof from the existing dormer, and then it would just look like a brownstone from Queens. So we want to continue the roof line of the existing ridge to the left of the house. We did provide also renderings of the proposed addition. The design does conform to the local neighborhood.
Yeah, no, we have all that. We have all the copies and the renderings and the site plan. But I guess that, the $60 question is, why would we allow you to come that close to the side yard in the corner lot? That's the question.
We're just looking to kind of go with the open floor plan. I have kind of a large family now. I have 3 kids and 8 grandchildren. So when everybody's here for a Sunday dinner, it's kind of tight. So we're trying to look to go, out as far as possible, permitted, to make a bigger dining room and a bigger kitchen area and a bigger living room that everybody could sit together.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you should have that. But the question is, why go out toward Alton Road? That's the question.
Well, if we went out any further in the backyard, we would have no backyard at all. It would be like an alleyway. I have a detached 2-car garage that was built in 1951. That kind of alters the plan to it.
I understand.
Yeah, we looked at all the alternatives.
It's the challenge of a corner lot.
Yeah.
Because our issue is, we make decisions like this, and then there isn't anybody else on Alton right now that comes out that far, but you can bet there would be, asking at least. And so we take a real hard look at this, not just you, it's everybody.
Right.
And corner lots are especially difficult.
I appreciate your concern with that. Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, it does start looking like Queens.
I have a question for the architect.
Yes.
Given the dimensions of that extension on the side, would there be a way somehow to maybe cut that back a little bit and thereby maybe achieve what you're looking to, but not going quite out so far towards Alton?
Well, it winds up being a matter of how deep do you make the kitchen and how deep is the dining room on the interior. Right now, the house in the center of the house, it's like a typical cape. It's got the center hall stairs going up to the second floor that divides the house in half, left to right. Is it worth doing an addition on the side of this house that's only 5 or 6 feet wide? Probably not. It's not going to make that big of a difference in the floor plan, and it's not going to make that much of a difference on the second floor, enlarging his master bedroom. So yes, it is a tight squeeze, being that it's a corner lot. But you have to do something decently substantial to this house. Otherwise, it's not worth the money of digging the foundation and doing an addition on the side of the house.
You mentioned there was a possibility maybe going out the back.
Yeah, we looked at going out the back. The problem is, if you go out the back, you're burying all your square footage in your backyard. So you lose the street appeal of a decently large house. It affects resale value because people don't want the entire rear yard covered. They want to have some yard for their kids to enjoy. And then also, if you tell someone that I have a $800,000 house with 4,000 square feet, and then they drive past it and they say, well, where's all the square footage? Oh, it's in the back. So you don't get a return on your investment when you do the addition in the back of the house. Then also, like I said, when we opened, if you did the addition on the back of the house, you would have a flat roof. And I don't think anybody in the village wants to see this turn into Queens with, flat roof lines.
My guess, Mr. Koenig, is if you needed to, you could figure out something else besides a flat roof. Our situation is, you really are required to have, under current zoning, 30 feet, right? You're supposed to have a 30-foot setback on both sides. You're already within 10 feet on Alton. You're 19 and a half. And you're even short on the front. And I understand that when the houses were built, that's fine. Nothing's gonna, we're not taking that away, that's for sure. But you hear our concerns.
Yes, I did. When I first met with the client, I told them, technically, if the house burned to the ground today, they wouldn't be able to rebuild what they have now. They'd have to go for full variances because it's basically a non-conforming lot.
Right. But obviously, with something like that, we look upon that, in a different manner.
Yes,
But our job isn't to maximize the value of the house, right? Our job is to try to protect the integrity of the neighborhood, and not to turn it into something else by allowing things to happen that are just going to be duplicated. That's why we push so hard on, why would we allow this? I hear you have a lot of good reasons why I'd like it if I were in your position, but that doesn't make it right for Babylon Village or right for that neighborhood. And that's our challenge.
yes.
Right. So we're trying to figure out, some way, to help you, but I don't think it's going to be by coming 5.5 feet from the property line. That's my sense,
Yes.
to be honest with you.
Is there any way that flat roof could be, as you were talking about in the back, that could be eliminated and there could be some other type of a design that would be consistent with the character of the neighborhood and that type of a home?
Well, if you did an addition on the rear of the house, because of the slope of the rear roof, which already is a rear dormer roof, it would require removing the entire existing roof of the house and reframing it. Because if you did an addition in the back with its own gabled roof, that gabled roof would be higher than anything else on the house right now. And then you'd see it from the front yard towering above the existing Cape Cod roof. So you would have to do a complete redesign of the entire roof of the existing house to tie everything together and make it look, to give it some harmony with the rest of the neighborhood. And at that point, if you're ripping off your entire roof and reframing everything, then it doesn't make sense to do the addition at all.
Okay.
There also would be an issue with probably landlocking a couple of the habitable rooms that need access to natural light and ventilation and egress windows, but that would be a function of redesigning the second floor so everything has exterior access.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. All right. Anything else to add, Mr. O'Brien or Mr. Koenig?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
You do.
Do we call that?
I think it's still on. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, were we done with that one?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure.
Okay, no problem. So there's nobody else out there, correct?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's talk about this evening. Any issues with Dr. Harris?
None.
Entertain a motion?
So moved to approve the application of Dr. Mark Harris for a period of 3 years, subject to the same CNRs.
Okay. Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So ordered. Okay. Second application, Thomas and Farida Alcock, 10 Reed Avenue, for the construction of an in-ground swimming pool. Any issues with this one? Entertain a motion.
Make a motion. I'll make a
Go ahead,
motion to
John.
approve the application of Thomas and Frida Alcock at 10 Reed Avenue, Babylon, New York, for permission to construct a private in-ground swimming pool on the premises located at 10 Reed Avenue.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So ordered. Mr. Newell's application,
Mhm.
I'm going to suggest we hold it over.
Yep.
There's a lot of stories here. I got that feeling. I know he likes boats, but having 5 and trying to do everything else on this property, I want to check with the building inspector basically first, to see what else may be going on there. You know, if we can figure out a way to limit what he's doing, but he seems to have so many things going on. I don't know where you start. It's like everything's under construction, including everything his own stuff is under construction.
I just found an awful lot of inconsistencies with a lot of his explanations.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, just the way that property is and where it is, we had issues with Mr. Roy across the street with moving boats and all this.
I know.
That's a very busy street, and I have the same issues with him.
Yeah.
I personally don't like anything about this, to be honest with you.
I just get the feeling there's another story. You know, every time you take a level off, there's some other story underneath. But let's find out. I'll find out what's going on from Steve. Let's find out. I mean, certainly is the kind of application that, you know, if we did consider it, I'd certainly only consider it for a year or so. You know, you'd want to keep a real short leash on somebody like this to see what happens.
That's what I was going to say, actually. I mean, the guy lives there, so I'm taking that into consideration.
Right.
If he's been operating for a long time and there weren't neighbors there complaining about him, that says something as well. But
Right.
I think if we were going to approve it, I think it would need to be heavily conditioned, and it would have to be limited to a year for a couple of years before we could kind of loosen it.
I agree. Although I have to admit, I don't think we've ever gotten a complaint from Codfish Bob's about anybody.
Fair.
Good point.
So we'll hold him over. I'll have a discussion with Steve. Mr. O'Brien. Oh, man. It's tough. I think we're just trying to fit too much. I was hoping that his architect would want to kind of work with us, but all we got was, you know, all the reasons why he'd want to put it on the side of the house to give himself more room. And I get that. You know, I'd want to do the same thing. But this is close. It's a 20-foot, two-story structure.
Yeah, I found his architect, I found that to be a little frustrating because I almost got the sense that he just didn't want to take that extra step and say, oh, no, we could try this or do this, and I'll come up with some drawings. And in my opinion, that's what he should have done. But
no, I agree with you. I mean, you telling me you can't get an architect that's going to design a building, you know, that doesn't have a flat roof like this? This is like we used to have some people come in. They were telling us what they wanted to do to a property, and if you don't, you know, I have the right to put a jail here or something, right? They you know, instead of trying to work with you, which obviously we were trying to do, but the only question is whether or not, I guess, we hold this over in case he comes back to us over the month with another plan, or do we decide now? What do you guys think?
Well, he didn't seem to be flexible. He didn't seem to want to change or even offer any suggestions. I think it was like a take all or nothing.
Right.
You know, maybe the only way I think we would get them to submit other plans is to deny it and see if they would come back with, you know, an alternate plan. They didn't even give an indication as they left that they would, you know, we'll look at it again and, you know, we'll submit something.
Right. It's true.
I think.
Go ahead. I'll wait till you.
I was going to say, I think that the architect does have a point to an extent. You know, if you're putting the addition on the back of the house, you would have to redesign the whole roof, and there's a lot of cost that goes to that. So that may not be in the homeowner's budget. But, you know, unfortunately, the house is what it is, and it doesn't really lend itself to any kind of expansion. I mean, if he wanted to get creative, he could take down that 2-car garage and, you know, and then he could open up his backyard a little bit more and maybe put the garage, you know, in the first floor of the new addition, or, you know, find a way to attach a garage to the house.
Right.
You know, I think it would just take more creativity. But I think the flat roof is something that the architect is probably right about if you're going to the back. But it's a tough lot. It really is. Is just,
Yeah.
I don't see any way they're going to be able to make it happen. But
All right, Jeff, you were going to say
I
something?
was gonna say, yeah, maybe, you know, just thinking out of the box a little bit. Maybe there is something else that this guy could do, and he just needs a nudge from the client. So if the client were to say, hey, you know, what's going on with this or anything, you know, hey, he needs to come back with a little something different that's going to take care of our you know, our other, you know, front piece there, because it can't be 5.6 feet. But I'd say give him a month and see if they can come up with something else.
Yeah. Well, I guess the other thing
That's
is,
the fair thing.
you know, if he comes back with something that's substantially different, we're probably going to have another hearing anyhow, right?
yeah,
It all depends, you know, because he's like 26 feet now. So is there something he could do to, you know, maybe he goes up to 32 or something to make this whole thing work? But now it becomes a whole different application, right? So he may have to. But I don't know if he was he trying to get something going right away? Do you know, Jeff, or was it something that, you know, this was out to next?
I have no idea what he was looking to do. I mean, as far as when he was going to start the construction, or when when he wanted to start it, I have no idea with that. Because, like I said, as everybody knows, I know the guy, and I said I can't comment too much of anything because I feel it may be a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You know, that's why, you know, pretty much I said, if, you know, if there's maybe another chance that, you know, his architect, which I felt kind of stonewalled a lot of things, but could come back with maybe another design or something, okay, fine, I'm willing to go with that. But I hate to say, I agree with you that side on Alton Road, nah.
Yeah.
And I said that right from the beginning, if you remember.
No, I remember. And you even, you know, looked, you know, you gave him a bit of an olive branch by looking at the side and saying, well, what if it, you know, what if it wasn't 5.5? What if it was something else, you know? And that didn't work for him either. So, you know what? Maybe Frank's right. Let's make a decision. That'll free him up to come up with another idea and see what happens. It's not gonna, at least it won't, you know, give him any false hope that, you know, we're actually thinking about going 5.5 feet off Alton Road. So we may be in that way, we may be doing him a favor.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion on this one.
okay, I'll make the motion to refer the matter to council for the preparation of written findings in connection with the denial.
Okay. I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. Unanimous. Okay. That we refer to council. All right, now old business. I mentioned a couple of these. Let's see. Lockwood, there's no update. Lifeline, I think I mentioned they're taking over the front building, World Gym, so they go into planning tomorrow. So that's someplace in our future. The Landscape Corporation. Let's see, we got something. Terry Associates. Is Christina still here? Christina,
Yes.
could you refresh our memory? What did we ask him for? I see, and it has, there's different places for different equipments, open storage bins.
Yeah, originally I had asked for two kind of temporary tent-like structures and a office trailer. And then you
Right.
kind of turn it into storage of vehicles and landscaping supplies, open bins and,
Okay. So basically, that's what he did. He put a number of parking spots, it looks like, on the back of the property for equipment. And then along the side, going north from the entrance, he's got a number of open storage bins. And then a temporary trailer location on the front as well. So he's got all his equipment parked to the back. Okay.
And the sides and.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have any issue with that. Now, let's see, since that was a while ago. What was he asking for? Application, Philip Terrible. Permission to erect a 30 by 48-foot temporary greenhouse. So he's not doing that anymore.
Right.
40 by 38 temporary storage shed. He's not doing that anymore.
Storage tent, yeah.
Tent. And place an 18 by 45-foot temporary office trailer. He's not doing that anymore. So
What does he need?
Yeah, what's left?
I think we really need to see them.
selling us sod? I guess. Sounds
is
like
the office trailer still there? Like on the southeast area? I don't recall.
he's got proposed trailer location. It says temporary structure. So I'm not sure that's because he's got parking spaces down there. And then he's got prop trailer location, temporary structure. I'm not sure what that means. But even if he had that, well, let's put it this way. Now that he's changed this all around and he's got all this heavy equipment he's parking there, does that require anybody else to look at this? Because he changed the whole plan. So does this go back to planning for any reason? Was Steve? Has Steve seen this?
It might.
Christina, do you know if Steve has seen this? Yeah,
I do not recall.
came to us. So
Right.
I didn't see any, there's no CC to Steve.
Gonna be required to
So-
start all over again? To start his application process? all
Yeah,
over?
I don't know what he's gonna do. I don't know what, if anything needs anything. So let's play safe. Let's get it to Steve this month. See what his, and see if this guy needs anything from us.
Right.
Because right
Go
now,
back to the planning board.
yeah, right now, it doesn't look like, and even has proposed, so I'm not even sure that's now for a trailer. So I think we need to know more before we just move forward, because I'm not sure what we're moving forward with.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so that one is gonna go. That'll be that. Okay. Hertz, you had mentioned that on the 16th, they gave us a copy of the parking agreement, but no CNRs. So please get a hold of David to write Hertz's attorney a letter. Trying to light a fire under him, please.
Okay.
Going on since June. Okay, City MD, I mentioned he's doing that now. So that'll probably be next month. That's going to be pretty extensive because of all the additional detail they got us after we had the hearing. And then finally, Koski sent us for Leach 107 Cooper Street. He sent us a plan that shows him with additional spot in the back. And yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Do we have any other issue with Koski? Anybody remember? I don't think so.
No, that was,
Parking spot, extra parking.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll entertain a motion on Koski. This is to permission to establish 4 office spaces on the first floor and obtain a special use permit for 2 one-bedroom apartments on the second floor, Residence O District. So I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve this application for Kyle Leach to put the 4 offices in the obtain a special use permit for the bedroom apartment above. You know, subject to everything that was submitted and all the CNRs.
Okay, and then subject to the new plans.
His new plan.
Yep. All right, have a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Unanimous. Okay, I think that's it, Christina, right?
Yep, we're done.
Okay.
hey, Bruce,
So, yes, sir.
I was just noticing the application from Kuhn for Lockwood's property. We just celebrated an anniversary. It's been 3 years. That is probably the longest ongoing application I remember.
Do we
I
have
think,
enough members?
we could probably just take it off the docket and nobody would ever notice.
I know, but my point is that we've been carrying it now for 3 years, and I don't think we're ever going to get any answers that we're looking for with this.
Well, you reach a point where, and we talked about this, we could just deny it. What's the term where we could always come back with
Prejudice.
right?
Without prejudice, yeah.
Yeah, so we could just deny it without prejudice. We were hoping though that, it wasn't just about his application to us. It was really about the safety of the area that was brought up by the residents in the area. That was the big issue.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Deal with this with the size trucks that come down there and they block off the road. To me, that was a much bigger issue. But the powers that be, I guess, I don't know. I wasn't involved with any discussions, and I just keep asking where we are. So.
We had an application like that when I was on the Babylon zoning board. We carried it for like 7 years before we finally kicked it off the agenda.
And I'm really disappointed that we can't, COVID dinner. What's going to happen this year? We're going to have to do I was telling Christina, we might have to meet at the dock and do like a tailgate or something.
Tailgate party.
We could do it virtually. We'll watch each other eat just on TV.
All right, everybody. I thank everybody.